Hey, what's up, RevShare Lifestylers? It's Joel here. I just got back from an epic road trip. Took off this morning at about 5 o'clock in the morning and headed out over to LA for an awesome, super cool meeting. I just walked in the door literally about 7 minutes ago, set up the webinar and everything, and sent out an email to everybody to let them know that we're getting started. So, Saron has also mentioned he'll be joining us a little bit in a few minutes. Yeah, so I just wanted to check in with everybody and see how everybody's been since Monday. On Monday, we hosted a awesome, super epic webinar that was explaining to others the digital altitude opportunity. It is a web page that everybody can promote with their digital altitude username attached to the end of it, much like the exact same way that we do our RSL webinars. You simply do the question mark user ID equals, and you just add your username on the back of it, your DA username. And what's cool about that is that webinar that we hosted, we're going to keep refining it. We're going to keep tweaking it. We're going to turn it into one of the best automated sales webinars that are out there right now, and absolutely turn it into a crushing funnel that gives you the ability to use that to help build your DA business as well. Now, some of the people ask, do you still get access to this even if you did not join under us? As far as Rise Up Mastermind is concerned, that particular system is API locked to our sponsor IDs. However, the webinar page, the webinar Rise Up Mastermind page, that is not locked. That is a page that we own. There's no API lock on that, and anybody can use it to promote their DA business and start using it to drive more people into their DA. So tonight I want to talk about how Rise Up Mastermind is going to help you get upgrades in digital altitude. Now, as we all know, digital altitude has an awesome system where everybody gets a private coach, and those private coaches help you with questions that you might have about DA, questions that you might have about marketing, questions you might have about business or traffic or anything else. And those private coaches are awesome. They really help you out. But I think it's important that we also create additional incentives, and Digital Altitude actually even talks about this in their trainings. If you guys haven't gone through all 18 steps of your trainings, make sure that you do that, because they do educate on this process where you're creating your own brand, your own system around DA. They do educate on that process. And I think it's very important that, and one of the things I love about DA is that they give you the freedom to do that. Now, Rise Up Mastermind is a system that will take DA to the next level, okay? Rise Up Mastermind is this awesome system where it actually creates FOMOs as well as additional incentives. Hey, what's up, Julian? Glad to have you on, brother. We are just getting started, and we're just jumping into what Rise Up Mastermind it will contain, as well as how it will help you get upgrades in DA. So what I was just about to go into, Julian, is how the different levels of Rise Up Mastermind will actually provide additional bonuses, additional features to the digital altitude to increase the overall marketing experience and teach people how to have their own brand presence, as well as running their own traffic. So glad to have you here, brother. How was your day? How you been since Monday?
I've been okay, man. I've been pretty sick as I said to you the night. I actually just getting with some of the reasons. Yeah. When I got sick this time, it's like all my symptoms are backwards, like how they normally are. So the worst of it already passed, and you got all the annoying, sneezing, running nose stuff is at the end, where it's normally at the beginning. So I'm hanging in there though.
Well, glad to hear you're hanging in there, brother. I just myself, I don't know if you know, but I just got back from a 12-hour road trip out to LA and
back. I saw that. Yeah, I saw a post about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I literally just walked in the door, popped up the webinar page, and here we are. So, but I did have a solid webinar in hand for us tonight. And so what we're talking about, like I just mentioned, we were talking about how Rise Up Mastermind will help you get more upgrades inside of Digital Altitude. Now, as I already mentioned, Digital Altitude has the awesome coaching program where they're driving your people to not only answer all their questions and provide a lot of value, but also assist them in the upgrading process.
Yep.
The Rise Up Mastermind is going to take that upgrading process to the next level. One of the things that we do as marketers and as entrepreneurs is we look for an area that is lacking. It's important that we are always looking for an area that is lacking. So when we find an area that is lacking, that we find a way to turn it into an opportunity. Jerry, Rise Up Mastermind itself may or may not be a use to you. I may find a way to get it to work for you, but the webinars definitely will, and the people that you bring in also will have some. We may be able to find a way to work that. So no promises on that until the whole thing is completed, but it's definitely going to be worth everybody's time to be here in the Rise Up Mastermind. So. So what I was saying is that each individual level, and as entrepreneurs, let me collect my thoughts here. As entrepreneurs, it's our job to find a lack in the industry and to use that lack in the industry and turn it into an opportunity for ourselves. And one of the things that I've noticed in going through all of the numbers over and over and over again and back again inside of Digital Altitude is where the lack in terms of the sales process comes in is at the climber level. Now, you may have noticed in your own downline that there are a lot of Aspire walkers with Rise. And as great as that is, where they get the ability to earn commissions on the Rise, they're losing out on thousands and thousands and thousands more dollars on those tier 2 and tier 3 levels. Now, the way that we've designed Rise Up Mastermind is designed to give everybody to the climber plus Rise level. In fact, we've actually created it to where when you get to the Rise level inside of Rise Up Mastermind, it's inaccessible unless you have both climber and Rise. We've designed it this way intentionally because we want everybody on our team to be at climber and Rise. Why do we want that? First and foremost, as we all know, that creates more billings. That creates more commissions. But it creates more commissions for you guys. It creates commissions on tier 2 and tier 3 levels. I literally, probably $4,000 or $5,000 or so have come from tier 2 and tier 3 commissions alone on my end. It is well worth the extra few dollars per month. In fact, it has paid for itself for years for me, literally for years, by simply having that $127 a month. If I paid that every month and didn't do another thing, it has already paid for itself for years to come. That's how powerful it is to be at the climber level. But that is not fully represented inside of the Digital Altitude system. And so what we've done here is we've created this system to morph it in a way to where that sales funnel, that sales process is slightly tweaked to help you get more upgrades. Now, of course, each level is going to contain additional bonuses, more bonuses than the last level. But those bonuses are designed around creating a firm foundation. And they're also designed around information that does not change. Things like copywriting, things like that are foundational principles of marketing and principles of business that will be here, that have been around for thousands of years and will be around for hundreds of thousands of years after. That's important to note because there's a lot of knowledge being kicked around in the industry, but not a lot of wisdom. And I think that if we're able to bring more wisdom to this niche and to are people that will be able to create a lot more success stories. And it's important that we're working in ways that help our teams succeed. No, I've not been in DA for years. Raymond, DA has not been around for years. No, what I was saying is that we're creating, I have paid for the amount of commissions has paid that I've earned in tier 2 and tier 3 has paid me up for the next few years to pay for that climber level. So it's been incredibly valuable to be at that climber level, Raymond, because a lot of people are at the Walker plus Rise. So they're only earning smaller commissions and they're only earning on tier 1. That's huge. It's a major difference. I mean, I've earned probably a good $5,000 just in tier 2 and tier 3 commissions. Commissions I didn't do any work for. Commissions that my downline went and they did work for, and I got a piece of the pie. And they, of course, get their full piece of the pie as well. So it's well worth it. That's why we're designing our sales funnel to make sure that we attack that specific chink in the armor. So Raymond, so I see that you're putting here that you're not getting any conversions at all. You said, I have no downline. My coach is slowing me down and waiting for him to open up step 13. You've been sick yourself and broke, so you cannot afford anything more on DA than you're spending. I certainly understand that, certainly appreciate that. Julian, what has been one of your key factors in building your downline?
Well, outside of just running traffic, just following up with the folks that actually take their trials, for the most part, keeping them engaged so they kind of know what to do, and that's pretty much it, really. And just reaffirming, explaining them, and again sending them back to their coaches so their coaches could pretty much do their job. Because as I've seen there, and I know it's one of those things we saw in one of those groups there that you don't want to get in the way of the coach because that kills the conversion. So it's really about answering the additional questions, but then redirecting those folks back to the coaches and providing any additional value that I can for the team members who come in there. And one of the notable thing that you just mentioned too is obviously no one knows about going to climber for some reason. They all seem to do it at a later time. And to see that for the folks who come in that are bringing folks in, they are missing those commissions specifically because they don't get to leverage those other levels. So just those things, just keeping that communication channel open, answering those questions, again, redirecting back to the coach is seem to have been helping along the way.
Now, what would you say to somebody who is they don't have the capability necessarily to run paid traffic, but they need to get at least a few $1 trials, say their first one?
Right. For paid traffic, they could do some free strategies. A lot of folks do a lot of free strategies on Facebook by connecting with different folks in different groups that have similar interests, reaching out to them, messaging. I mean, it's not my personal style personally, but I'm trying to think of her name. The young lady there in DA, she has phenomenal results just doing that. And that's all free advertising. She literally spends time on Facebook connecting with folks and then telling them about the $1 trial in DA. And she's been all over the leaderboard doing it. I can't think of her name right now.
Is it Ciara?
Ciara, yes, that's exactly what she does. So just things like that. If you don't have the funds for paid advertising, you could definitely use your Facebook wall as a way to advertise, right? And of course, target the different groups of folks you already know that's in the industry looking to make some income, right? I'm sure by now there's a lot of folks in those rev share opportunity or in those rev share groups that are probably looking for something different, being how volatile that space is, as we all will know for the last few months. So that's another way again. And these are all just conversational pieces. There's all trainings around this. Again, it's not something I've done myself, but I know a lot of folks who actually, this is what they actually do, is spend time on Facebook, connecting with folks, and then bring them some value and then tell them about this opportunity. Of course, the coaching is a huge sell because that's what most folks could resonate with that, especially if they've been online for some period of time, they've struggled like I have until I got coaching. That's what changed everything completely. So just having that coaching aspect in place is going to be a big deal for folks. And if you're brand new, that's what you need. If I had that early on in my career, I've been a lot further along the line. But again, I had to struggle back and forth, lose a lot of money before I got to that point. So the big selling key to me specifically, and I think across the industry really, for DA specifically, is that coaching and the ability to leverage the sales team and the coaching there to get you those commissions. Absolutely. But just to kind of round it off though, Joel, going back to the free advertising, again, perfect thing would be using Facebook. spend some time connecting with like-minded folks. You could see the other groups. You could actually literally search for different groups, and from that you could actually see people's profile, see what they're into, see what they're about, and actually you could use information from their profile to spark up conversations, connect with them, and to kind of bring it on for that way on. See what they're doing, to see if they are struggling, and let them know about RISE, and by drive them to the $1 trial. I know because I've seen Chiara is her name. She's actually sent me before she realized I was a VA one of her actual little scripts.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. So you actually have one of her scripts, so we might be able to take that, modify it, and make it our own.
Exactly. So and that's all she does. So it's definitely something. If you've got the time, you can spend time on Facebook. And you have no marketing dollars, it's something you definitely want to do. You want to add that to your game for sure.
So to be absolutely clear, Julian, that's actually how I started Traffic Genie as well.
Yeah.
I had no advertising funds, and I had no advertising dollars, but I did a lot of connecting via Facebook, a lot of live chats, and a huge bulk of my business is still done through live chats. So it does work. In addition to that, too, Instagram is still driving a lot of free traffic. I was actually just having conversations with Saron, who just popped on today. I was having a conversation with Saron earlier about, and by the way, I love your shirt, Saron.
I know, right? Got the same shirt going on.
So, I was mentioning Instagram. Instagram is still a great place. Even though Facebook just bought it recently, it is still a great place to drive a lot of free traffic. Instagram is not hard to do. It is, go check out Millionaire Mentor if you want to check out an example of somebody who's building Instagram and doing it well. Check out my own Instagram. Check out Saron's Instagram. Saron's pulling leads from Instagram every single day. It's not a ton of leads at first, but it does build over time, and it is free, and it is very doable for anybody. It just comes down to a matter of consistency, and it also comes down to a matter of choosing one specific craft, one focus.
I would say that some of you probably enjoy writing, some of you enjoy video, and it's a matter of, and Joel and I were talking about this just a few minutes ago, basically, but is mastering that craft. It's taking that craft and working it and continuing to get better at it each and every day. I personally really enjoy writing. It's just something that I really, really enjoy, and so writing my blog. They might, write articles or guest posts and stuff like that. Somebody else, they might really enjoy video. Joel, you're a video guy. Julian, I think both of you guys are video guys, aren't you?
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I also do a lot of writing as well, mostly email. But I do a lot. I do a mix of writing and video, and I think Twee has an amazing point about this, and we've spoken about it in our webinars before, where we say be a friend first, but it's important to note that people that are interested in joining your business are actually interested in being your friend, and they want to know what you're doing. They want to know what you're doing with a daily life. Raymond. If you're looking for a consistent flow of traffic, you have to do a consistent action, one specific action that you're doing daily. Whether that is emailing or building an Instagram page or doing Facebook Lives or updating your Facebook every, like twice a day. Chiara updates her Facebook twice a day. She has this sort of formula. She doesn't really go past that. Look at her Facebook. Check out her strategy. It's pretty straightforward in the fact that she's doing it twice a day. So it really comes down to consistency. And, like Saron mentioned to me earlier today, there's a lot of knowledge being kicked around in this business, but there's not a lot of wisdom being applied. And, when we mention being consistent about something, we're talking about picking something, trying it for 90 days. That's really about how long it takes to see the results from something. Sarah, how long have you been building that Instagram page that you're getting leads from every day now?
I've been building that Instagram and those people. There's a lot of people that I have been following me now for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So we definitely, I've built a pretty solid group of people that I recognize, that will sit there and chat. So, it does take time. Some of these things, you got to think. I think we talked about this maybe on a webinar, some months back, but having a 2-year goal rather than having just a 1 month goal,
It's correct.
or a 1 week goal.
It's absolutely correct.
Looking at it from the perspective.
Looking at it from
Yeah. Well, continue.
Well, I was gonna say it's absolutely correct. You cannot go into any goal saying, I'm gonna try this for a week and see what happens. It just doesn't work like that. I know that being a traffic provider, okay, I've been a traffic provider for a few years now, and I know that the marketing message of traffic providers, I know the marketing message that I have at one point had myself, which was paid traffic is the way to go. Got to buy traffic. If you don't buy traffic, you're not playing big enough. All that kind of crap. It's all bullshit. To be completely honest, I believe in paid traffic. Do not get me wrong. But if you notice, I do a combination of paid and free traffic. Yes, I'm running my paid traffic, but I'm also updating my Facebook page. I'm also updating my Instagram page, and I'm also emailing my list. I'm also doing Facebook Lives, and I'm doing these webinars every Wednesday, and now I'm doing them on Mondays as well. And I'm also getting active inside of a Facebook group. This may sound like a lot, but at the same time, Raymond, you said you're 65, you cannot make a long-term goal, but Raymond, I've known you now for 6 months, and I know that if you were doing if you set forth a 90-day goal, Raymond, I want you to do a favor for me, okay? I want you to take 1 foot out of the grave. That 1 foot that you keep putting into the grave, I want you to take it out of the grave. And I'm not saying this to joke or be mean. I'm saying this, Raymond, because I really do truly believe in you. The value that you provide inside of our Facebook group it's invaluable. The inspirational notes, the insights, and the wisdom that you have within your 65 years that you share inside of our Facebook group is invaluable. Heck, I'm 31 years old, Raymond, and as much as I don't want to be older, I do envy the wisdom that I've met from a lot of older people. Me being 31, I'm still a young, brash entrepreneur who still runs into, butts my head into walls that I probably should not butt my head into. And that's just being real. And that's because I don't have as much experience as you have. 65 is not 1 foot in the grave. It's an honor to have that type of wisdom. And I think, Raymond, that if you get rid of the idea that you can't make a long-term goal at your age, this day and age, the year 2016, a 90-day goal is considered a long-term goal. And, I remember when I was a kid, a long-term goal was something that was like 2 to 5 years. But in the year 2016, us millennials and everybody else being so ready for that instant gratification, if you set a 90-day goal, and Raymond, I pray to God that you're alive 90 days from today, but if you set a 90-day goal and work on something and attempt to master it over the next 90 days, Raymond, I can almost promise you that you will receive results because you're giving value and you're applying yourself to this one area, this one focus.
I think a lot of times we undervalue ourselves significantly. We undervalue our message. We undervalue the time, the life that we have, the experiences that we've had. And it's unfortunate because so many people, they die with this message in them. And I think one of the things that we have to stand up for and we have to decide is, are we going to allow that message are we going to put that message out there? Are we going to allow that fear to stop us from becoming the people that we were called to be? And I know that this is something that I've personally been dealing with this exact same thing, because I know the message inside of me and putting it out there. And it's this concept of consistently putting it out to the people that need it most. And you're going to be shocked at the people when you guys start to speak. Just start to speak from your heart. You're going to be shocked at the people whose lives are changed from it. 65 years of experience, Raymond. That is something that so many people, they need that. They need your wisdom. They need your words.
It's absolutely correct. And it doesn't matter what media you choose to put out there. So, you know, you're an excellent writer. You did it for years at Kodak. You're a published author. Do more of that. Yes, maybe you need to do more of that, like you said. I agree. I 100% agree that you need to do more writing. Write every single day. You know, it could be email, it could be blogging, it could be Facebook, it could be anything you want. But if you're, I personally enjoy what you write and post inside of our Facebook group. I personally get value out of it. And I know that if I'm personally getting value, that I know that others are getting value as well. So Raymond, I know that you can do this. And if writing is your strong suit, please run with it. I know some people that they don't want to ever be on video, but they did have the gumption to put their own image up and not some avatar. And I love that you have your real face and not an avatar. That's all they did was put that, and then they just write every single day. You know, there's a guy who I receive his emails. He's considered a copywriting guru. His name is Ben Settle. I don't personally connect with his message, but the guy sends out 2 emails a day. He writes a long email every day. That is the only marketing he does other than a podcast. And at least that's the only marketing I've ever seen of him. And the guy is, you know, a 7-figure earner. And that's it. He's just doing those 2 things, podcasting and writing emails every day. And sells his one product that he has, which is just a subscription to a newsletter, which he writes. So writing is powerful. It goes a long way. So it really just comes down to choosing a discipline. And that was a long tangent that we all went off on, but I think that it's something that is valuable because, you know, I'm gonna keep, Sarah, and I'm gonna keep reiterating your message because I really truly believe that it is a core message that needs to be put out there in the marketplace, which is we need more wisdom, you know, instead of knowledge. There's new knowledge every single minute. Right. But wisdom goes back thousands of years. It's rooted in our human history, and it applies no matter what business you're in, no matter what relationship you're in, no matter what situation you're in, wisdom can be applied. So, you know, I would like to keep pointing that out, you know, that is something that Sarah shared with me that I thought was a valuable insight. And Raymond, you're not taking up time. So
yeah, there are major gaps in our marketplace, guys, and I think there's so much opportunity to be capitalized on, and it's going to take the fearless to go in there and to take it. And
let me tell you guys, once you become fearless, you become limitless.
That's just such a great line. It's the truth. It is the truth. It's once you become fearless, you become limitless. You know, just to share a quick little testimonial with you guys is today, and I just had in my prayer time last night and just planning out my day, because I tend to like to plan out my day prior to. I sat down and I wrote out a list of 5 people that I would like to work with. 5 big names that I thought would not only add value to my business, but that I could add value to theirs. And so I wrote out these 5 names, and I just sent out a Facebook message to these people. And the first one immediately ended up in a conversation that we're going to be having tomorrow. We're going to hop on a call. The second one, another call in probably 3 or 4 days. And so you'd be surprised that just putting yourself out there, what that will do. And and I'm we all have levels that we're all at, like a level, but the possibility and our ability can go so much further than we're even allowing ourselves to go. And so, I'm speaking obviously to myself as well as to the group here. Just from my, I think a lot of times if we can take our own life experiences and the things that we're going through and talk ourselves through them, it's not only going to do something for you, but it's going to do something for the people that are watching and listening and following your message.
Absolutely. And if we come back down to the, this is not necessarily a traffic game, guys. This is a branding game, and your brand will drive traffic for you. And traffic can be a result of your branding. And I'll let you guys know that is a area that I'm pushing myself towards. And I highly recommend you guys do the same, especially if you have a low advertising budget. Myself, I put money into paid ads every month, but I'm putting far more focus right now on my brand and my message over anything, because I know that if I buy traffic, if I buy paid traffic, I might get a conversion one time. But if I build a brand, I can get a conversion today, tomorrow, the next day. I can sell to the same customer more than once. It's a lot more than just making a sale. It's making a connection. It's making a friend. It's making a relationship that you can do going forward. And many of the people that have connected with my brand over the years that have bought from me, I have turned around and later bought from them. And that's just because, they came to me first, and I respect that. I respect that they like, hey, I've been buying from you for the last 2 years, but I got this one cool thing that I actually think is the right fit for you. If it was the right fit, I bought from them, because that's how this business is built. It's built with people, not numbers.
Yep. All just people. All just people. When you make a post and somebody likes it, it's a person that's liking it. It's a person that's saying that this is good. It's, comments and shares and all that stuff is all just coming back to people. Email addresses are people. And so the more people that you connect with on a day-to-day basis, the more people that you reach out to, the bigger impact you will have. Plain and simple. It's just a math problem. It's just the more people that you connect with your message, and the more clear you are, the more people, the bigger the impact that you will have.
Absolutely. I love that you pointed out the clarity. That also comes down to clarity clarity in your speech. It's about being clear, guys, not clever.
I remember when we were building when we were building Legendary Entrepreneur, it was we had so many webinars and things like that didn't do so well because we didn't know what that message was yet. We were still clarifying what that message was and how we were going to get the right people in front of that message. And it took time and it took trial and error, but the beauty of it is that we continued to push it forward and testing. You know, being an entrepreneur, all about testing. It's just an entrepreneur problem. It's testing. But we got clear, and eventually it hit. And did it happen overnight? No, it took more like 6 months. It took like 6 months for it to hit. But once it hit, it hit. And so, you know, that is business. That is building a company. That is building a brand. And you know, I think I needed to hear that as much as anybody.
It's absolutely true. You know, anytime that we're reconnecting with those situations, I know my first business took 90 days really to get it to a point to where it was working on its own, and 120 days to get myself financially stable in my first business. That's 120 days at 100 hours a week. So you guys are clear. That was that was my first business. It took that much work, and it was not fun. But I was my own boss, and that's how I got it. You know, entrepreneurs, you probably heard that line. Entrepreneurs are those crazy people that will work 80 hours a week in order to avoid working 40 hours a week.
Yep.
It's the truth.
It is the truth.
It's the truth.
Like, just so you guys know, I slept for 1 hour last night. Then I drove to LA. Then I did all my stuff in LA, drove back, and wrote my email on the drive over here to promote this webinar and get it out to the list. Then set up the webinar while on the phone with my mom, you know, the 10 minutes as we were pulling up into here. I mean, I walked in my door at 5:50 and was setting up a webinar like this from the Wi-Fi that I was catching from my apartment in the parking lot. That's how I was setting up this webinar. Walked in, sat down, and started this webinar. And I haven't, you know, I slept for 1 hour last night, and the night before that, you know, slept for 3 or 4 hours. So, you know, I've been up for probably 48 hours pretty much, and slept for 1 hour during that time frame. Now, I'm not saying that all entrepreneurship is like that. In fact, it should not be like that. There needs to be balance. But there are going to be times that it is like that, and you need to be willing to accept that. And when you begin to accept in your heart of hearts that this is truly who you are, I promise you, all of the world opens up to you. I promise you it becomes easier. Because even though I haven't hardly slept in about 48 hours, my eyes are burning, my head is clear. And I'm here to, you know, I'm here to reiterate that. It's that I have this much passion and drive and energy off of 1 hour of sleep during a 48-hour time period with producing, like selling everything that I own, getting rid, you know, packing all my stuff, doing a road trip and doing all these other things because I just have that much passion. And so the sleep really doesn't matter. But this did not change for me until I accepted in my heart of hearts that I am an entrepreneur. And nothing will ever change that. There's no way that I can ever go to a job. You cannot pay me enough money to go work for somebody else. And Sarah, I know that you recently turned down a huge opportunity that was also a job, though. But it was a ridiculous amount of money and a great opportunity, but you still turned it down because, like you said, you got to do what feels right in your heart.
Once it's in your blood, it's in your blood. You can't get it out. There's no going back.
So true.
You know, and sometimes you're gonna do deals and you're gonna finagle a little bit. And you're you know, I was thinking about this today. Is sometimes you have to understand that, you know, getting to the top is it's not about manipulation at all. But there are times when you have to add value to their life because you know that that's going to take you to another level. And then if you can look around and look at the playing field and say, okay, who else can I add value to their life? And you go do that, then it'll take you to another level. It's even beyond that. And so that's the game that we play. That's the game that we're involved in. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's scary. There are some times I know that each of the guys on this panel, that we've all had nights where we're like, holy shit, how are we going to get through this?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's like, you know, the last thing that you want to do is post it on Facebook because you're like, I feel like crap. Like, I can't even think straight. But yet, the drive, the blue blood of entrepreneurship is in there, and you just know that it's just a part of you, and you love the grind, you love the good, the bad, the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that from these webinars that we're doing, these hangouts that we're doing, is that it's inspiring you, and the people that show up, that we're hopefully transforming you, little bits that are getting a deep-seated inspiration in you that's going to carry you through the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, the that right there is pretty huge. You know, that it will carry you through those things. That really comes down to that passion in your heart. You know, I know that when you fall in love with somebody, you don't give up on them because they offended you, or you don't give up on them because your parents or their parents say that you guys can't be together, or you don't give up on that other person that you fell in love with because you guys are interracial. That was something that me and Tweed dealt with. You know, there's absolutely no way that I was going to stop loving this person simply because they were another race. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that was something that Twee and I dealt with, and you know, on both her side of the family, you know, and I dealt with it surprisingly from some extended parts of my family, and I was just like, are you absolutely kidding me? A person is a person. There's no way, there's nothing that you can say or do that's going to stop me from being this person because I love them. I bring that story up because when you love entrepreneurship or you love what you do, you'll fight through anything to make it work. And you'll find all of a sudden that your excuses that you've been putting down there, you learn that they can actually become your strengths. You can overcome those particular excuses, and what you'll find is when you do, you're going to come across somebody else who has that same excuse that you do, and you'll know exactly what to say to them and exactly what story to tell them that relates back to your own experience, that will help them get through that excuse that they're giving themselves for why they can't succeed today.
It all comes back around.
What's that?
All comes back around.
It does.
You see it in others.
And it's worth fighting for, you'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You know, so have we talked about getting people? I jumped on obviously a little bit later, but obviously, you know, what we're doing, preparing. Have we talked about the mastermind and things for that?
We did talk a little bit about that. You know, we were talking about very specifically how Rise Up Mastermind is going to help people get more climber level sales, as well as getting them more Rise sales. So very specifically, the Rise sales are obviously our target here. But I think it's important that we target climber level as well, because when people are getting into climber level, they're making more money. It's simple as that. When they bring in people, those people feed commissions up. That's what happens when you're at the climber level. So the way that we've designed Rise Up Mastermind is that you can't actually get access to the Rise level unless you're both climber plus RISE. So you need to have them both in order to get access to all the bonuses that we've added inside of RISE Up Mastermind. So
yeah,
the reason why we designed that, is because we want every single person on our team being at Climber and RISE. Climber and above, really, but at that Climber level, because that's where they get those tier 3 commissions, tier 2 and tier 3. And like I mentioned earlier, I've made thousands of dollars simply by paying that additional extra money per month to be at the Climber level and unlocking those features. So,
yeah, guys, as we continue to dial in this particular training, we're going to be helping you. We're going to be putting in front of people the presentation that's going to blow people into these programs. So I think that this idea of you going out and branding yourself and putting content out there and driving your message home with an audience is absolutely going to be one of the biggest things that you do for yourself. It's going to be one of the biggest things that you do for your life and for your business. And getting people on the calls, as we dial this stuff in, it's going to start converting people like gangbusters. And so it's going to be critical for you to get people. If we do one, are we talking next Monday?
Yeah, so you guys are aware, our Rise Up Mastermind webinars are going to be taking place Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So same times, but on Mondays. So those are going to be every Monday at that time. And we're going to keep the ones that we're going to be doing for the first few weeks are going to be focused on bringing new people into your downlines, and that is going to be all you guys do is promote the webinar link. Promote it, promote it, promote it. I highly recommend you put a capture page in front of it so that you can begin to email those people before the webinar starts, as opposed to sending somebody to the webinar link maybe a day or two ahead of time or something like that. I think it's more important that you capture the lead, and then you can follow up with them, bring value, and build excitement for the webinars. Because I think that's a huge factor in converting sales. Also, to give you guys an idea of what Climber can do for you, today alone I have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rebills that were on tier 2 and tier 3, and 3 additional sales into my tier 2. All stuff I didn't do myself. Just so that you guys are aware. Pretty powerful stuff. So
super powerful.
I earn an extra $100 every single day just because I have Climber. I mean, what would an extra $100 a day do for you? That's an extra $3 grand a month. Just for having the Climber level. I'd say that's worth the 127. Something to consider. And so that's why we're putting a lot of emphasis on it inside of Rise Up Mastermind, and why it's going to be a key component to our leadership people inside of Rise Up Mastermind. Will you put the link and how to add our referral link to the Monday webinar in the group? So yes, Raymond, I did put that in the group last week. I will start adding people into the Rise Up Mastermind Facebook group here shortly. We're still getting that thing. We're still getting our logos and stuff like that together. So once that stuff is together, I'm going to start slowly adding people into that group. I'm going to do it slowly. I'm going to kind of drip feed it because I want, first and foremost, I want to get a conversation going in there. I want people talking. I want people in there. And then what's going to happen is we're going to be able to add in our prospects into that group. And we're also going to be able to add in our team into that group. They'll be able to see the type of value that's being added in there, and that will help you sell it. Now, it's going to be imperative that everybody's being active and having a strong conversation going on in that group. That makes a big difference in terms of creating sales. Just so you guys know, I've pulled 2 or 3 sales out of the Aspire group purely by accident, okay? Because the Aspire group is a closed group, sometimes people request access to it even though they're not in the Aspire program. I've gone through occasionally and answered questions about Aspire only to get a message inside of my inbox, not even asking for it, somebody saying, hey, you seem to know a lot about digital altitude. What's your team like? And just answer a few questions, and they're like, great, I'd like to join with you. And I was totally caught off guard, but this has happened 3 times now. So, it's definitely, that's also a resource for you guys. There's a lot of people in there that are curious about DA, but they just need to find the right person to work with.
That's huge. The thing is, guys, is when, most teams don't have bonuses. Most teams don't have bonuses that are unique to their team. And it's a special thing when you have leadership that's putting that in place for you. And it's just a huge additional upsell to get people in. It's just, a huge additional bonus, not an upsell, but a bonus to get people to differentiate yourself from everybody else. And so that's why when you bring people on to the webinar, versus just showing them the video sales letter, is that they actually get to see what the bonus is all about. They get to see that, hey, not only am I gonna get access to the product like everybody else does, but I also get something that nobody else has except this team. That's unique. It's it's invaluable. And then the people that are a part of putting that together are invaluable. The training, the years of experience, and the wisdom, as we keep going back to this, the wisdom that is being injected into that site is going to be invaluable for you as you promote this thing. And that's why it's imperative to be on the Monday night webinar, to bring your people onto there, and to promote it and talk about it. It's just something, if I was going to do this, I would start promoting that out on, let's say, a Thursday. And you can give me, Joel, you can add on to this how you might do this, but putting it out on a Thursday, getting your leads into the system, and then following up with them, your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday multiple times to get them prepared for Monday. So Thursdays are really a big day.
That's absolutely correct. And we're going to run those Monday webinars in a different format than the way that we're running these webinars. Obviously, these webinars, we're providing a lot of wisdom, a lot of value, a lot of experience on these webinars. The ones that we're doing on the Monday for a little while are going to be focused on building our teams, building your teams. That is going to be the main focus. So we're going to be reviewing things like the compensation plan. We'll be answering questions about digital altitude. We'll be answering questions about RISE Up Mastermind, giving you guys a little bit more information each time about RISE Up Mastermind until it's ready to launch. Building up pre-launch right for that, because that's really where we're at. Is that's what a lot of this is about, is building pre-launch, building buzz for RISE Up Mastermind. When people see that there's something coming to the marketplace, and when people see that there is a team out there that's going to give them something unique, they're going to want to go with that team instead of going with the standard. Because the standard, they know they're going to get the standard. But for the same price, they're going to get so much more with RISE Up. So they'll put forth the same investment, but they'll get double the ROI.
Yep.
That is so true what you say about when people are looking for teams. As I look at some of the opportunities from past, that's one of the things I did as well. If there's something that looked interesting I've been seeing around, I say, okay, which one of those teams, or what are they actually offering? I jump on a webinar and check it out, and that's how I'd find a lot of different opportunities. As I'm doing my marketing, and I'm looking to add another income stream, I'll go and check it out. And the webinar is key, and what they have to offer is also key, right? Because if I'm doing something else, I just want to add something to it. I don't want to divert my focus. But if they already have everything in place, a marketing system, traffic, et cetera, that I need, then it's easy for me to actually add it to what I'm doing. So it is very key to be with a team that has certain things in place to actually give you the edge and to actually help you to succeed. So that's very key, and having a team and having those incentives for folks who want to actually join, and upgrading those different levels, especially with DA. So I'm actually really looking forward to that launch, and especially the training.
Yeah, the training is going to be rock solid. Yeah. And Raymond had a good question. Is there going to be an extra charge for Rise Up Mastermind? Absolutely not. Rise Up Mastermind is a special bonus for our team. Now, I want this to be incredibly clear. We could charge 50 grand for this because the amount of effort, the amount of experience, the people that are contributing to this, it's big. Okay, we could charge a lot of money for this, and that is what it's worth. Especially because in some of the higher levels, we'll actually even be giving out our traffic sources as well. That's big. I mean, I built an entire traffic agency on starting with these sources and continuing to use those sources until I built my own business and my own traffic, and I still continue to buy from those sources. So those are big, and they are worth at least $300,000, and I know they're worth how much I put into those traffic sources, so I know that they're worth them. Those are the things that we're adding to this. We're adding my own private publisher list. I mean, we've got big things that are being added to this. We've got Julian is creating some special traffic. I'll be having some special traffic. We'll be working out other traffic, possibly even co-ops. There's lots of stuff on the table, and this is insane value. Okay, but nobody out there is doing this stuff. Everybody out there is just promoting the company funnel, and what happens when everybody marches in the line of the ants? I mean, it's just everybody looks the same, everybody acts the same, everybody does the same, and we're rebels. We set ourselves apart because we're different. I pride myself on being different, and I know that if you're showing up to these webinars, I know that you're somebody who is unique. You're somebody who has some sort of unique gift, and you're somebody who believes something that is different than the status quo. And in all that we do, we believe in challenging that status quo. We believe in changing it.
Totally agree.
Absolutely. And
totally agree.
Asking about a rotator, that's something that we're investigating right now, and it's something that's definitely possible to do, but we want to make sure that we do it in a way that is profitable for everybody. So rotators work oftentimes when the teams are small. As they get big, they can sometimes get out of hand. So I've seen some rotators where the teams got so big that people were getting 1 to 10 clicks a month. I mean, that's not even worth your time. So it's something that we need to make sure that there's value in it, and we need to come up with a structure. And if there's going to be a rotator, that means that paid traffic is likely going to be being added to the mix. And if paid traffic is going to be added to the mix, somebody has to pay for that traffic. So, likely there may be some sort of monthly charge or something like that associated with a rotator if that were to come on the table. Currently, that is not in our plans because currently our focus is getting the system up. So once the system's up, then we'll revisit that. But rotators, I've seen them get out of hand way too many times. So it's good to do, every now and then. But if you're doing a constant rotator, it can get super tricky, especially when there are lots of people that are wanting to be paid for their efforts. So just something to consider. I've seen one rotator program that works decently. People pay a monthly fee to it, and you get what you get. You know, usually people end up anywhere from 50 to 100 clicks a month, but it doesn't guarantee sales. So that's something that we can consider, but is not currently on the table, not until we finish up the system. Any other questions before we jump off here? We're starting to run a little long. Guys, anything that you want to contribute or add to in terms of messaging or marketing or helping people get their first sale?
I would just say, you know, I think I'll close with just you have an opportunity as an entrepreneur to not have to build your own thing, but to be able to build your brand at the same time. You know, you have access, obviously. You know, you don't get many opportunities like this. They just don't come around where you have a new system, a new program that is quality. We're not talking just, you know, a fly-by-night company or fly-by-night, you know, leadership team and stuff like that. This is quality at its finest right now. And you guys are tapped into that. You have access to that now. So where your focus is and where it should be and what's going to get you the biggest amount of results is to continue to focus on brand in the marketplace. What separates you, as a friend of ours says, is having your own wrapper, around the system. And part of that is Rise Up Mastermind, is nobody else has that. And so you can talk about that and you can leverage this message and you can leverage the people in this group. And now is the time. Now is the time. And no matter what you've gone through, no matter what failures you may have had, now you can start again. Tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow is a day that you can start by putting people to it, getting your first few leads, and then once you've got your first few leads, following up and having them show up on the Monday webinar. It's a new day. It's a new opportunity, and you are more than capable of seizing it. You just have to seize it.
That's awesome, guys. I mean, and just adding on to what Sharon said. Be consistent too. When you get those leads, is, you know, the simple things. You know, look for those leads up there, their email address on Facebook. You know, connect with them. And you know, that's another way to drive them back to the webinar. I mean, there's some simple things you could do. There's these free Facebook events they could talk to and kind of build the buzz. We've got this new thing coming along, Rise Up Mastermind. It's one of those. It's an event thing. Maybe some of the training we could do about this at some another time too, Joel, where people use events literally. I'm joining the events, and in the events you could then get them the link to get to the webinar. But at least that way you keep in contact with them, you kind of engage them some, and you answer any question to that period of time. So I think that'll be very helpful. But again, at the end of the day, you still have to be consistent, right? You can't focus and not be consistent. You have to kind of both. To me, both those things go hand in hand. So you got to focus and you got to be consistent in what you're doing, and you'll get those results. And once you see that, it'll be easy to keep on going because that'll motivate you some more, right? So those things I think will really help you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, I'm just going to end this with, accepting in your heart of hearts, that you're an entrepreneur, in and out. Set a long-term goal at 90 days, okay? Stick with one thing. Be consistent at it, and go forth and be fearless so that you can be limitless. Okay? Because I get up every morning and I read that quote, once you become fearless, you become limitless. I literally do. It's on my wall. It's the very first thing I see right when I wake up. Once you become fearless, you become limitless. And it was a very impactful quote for me. And that's what I'd like to leave you guys with tonight. Accept in your heart that you are an entrepreneur and become fearless so that you can be limitless. Bye for tonight, guys. I'll see you.
Guys.
We'll see you Monday. actually.
See you
All right.
Monday.
All right, guys. Bye.